I'm Fonzie, and this is ELIZA ROSE, and this is Ink episode 2.
Ink Conversations episode 2. You
okay.
almost had it this time.
That's like the perfect sound clip of us Ink Conversations.
Yeah.
No,
That's the intro right there. That's perfect.
Absolutely. So we started talking before.
We did.
I'm a dork, and I didn't put the microphones on. So all good. It's only day number 2. So.
Whew.
I'm going to potentially come at you with a different question this time, and I have some pretty good ChatGPT made questions for you, which are pretty up there.
Of course you do. Yeah.
I will start with the first question.
Okay.
This is not a ChatGPT one. This is a. Would you rather?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. $100,000 in your hand today, or flip a coin for $5 million.
Well,
that's tough.
Anytime that I've gambled and played the lottery, I've lost, so I would like the money.
But if you flip a coin and you get $5 million, then you're killing it.
Yeah.
But if not, you're still where you are.
Yeah, look, that money would allow me to put down a deposit on a house.
100? The 100,000? Yeah, well, that's where I was at too. I said the 100,000.
Yeah, because I'm pretty happy with my life otherwise. It does take a lot of hard work to save.
Yeah.
So that you can do things.
Life.
Man, a house would be fucking nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's main goals at the moment. So I'd be like, if I can tackle that and get that out of the way, give me the 100.
Like adulting, right?
Yeah.
We're at that point of life where it's like, oh shit. Like me personally, I did everything so back to front.
Yeah.
I did kids first, and then marriage, and now we're I'm sick of renting. I want the kids to have their own room where they can paint a wall.
Yeah, put a shelf up without having to ask.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, you can put shelves up, I suppose, but I mean, you're going to be in trouble, or you got to pull it down and fill a hole, I suppose.
Yep.
But I think the anxiety of putting a hole in someone else's wall is the worst part.
That's horrible, being are they going to make me pay more because there's a couple of holes in the wall when I leave? Because they do shit like that.
They do. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I mean, I could imagine they would get some pretty shitty people in general, putting,
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So now I'm going to come at you with a real question.
Question.
Yeah.
All
okay.
Right.
That was a little icebreaker to start off with.
Yeah.
If you could pursue any other career or passion outside of tattoo industry, what would it be and why?
So, the only other thing that I really have an interest in, but it would be very difficult for me, I think, is I really wanted to become a mortuary assistant for a little while there.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the whole I don't know, you like your death.
Dead stuff. Yeah,
absolutely.
I just medicine I find very interesting, and human anatomy and what can go wrong and all that sort of stuff I find really interesting, and unfortunately, in my experiences with dead bodies, it doesn't really affect me. It's sort of just okay, this is a dead person. Yeah. That's absolutely fine. You just do what you have to do at that point.
Well, at that
it's
point,
not a person anymore.
It's like there's no soul there. It's just a vessel.
Yeah, and so you do what you need to, clean it up. Yeah, I think the medicine side of it would be really interesting, and learning about what happens.
Yeah, okay.
What do we do to a body? And if people have certain requests on what happens to their body after they die, what are the challenges with that,
At the same time, too, they've got requests, but I mean, they're not going to know.
Oh, no, they're dead.
They're
but if it's something they don't want to be embalmed.
Yes. Yeah,
what's
true.
What's the process with that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what sort of time frame and everything is on there?
But you don't get embalmed if you're being cremated, though, right?
I don't think so, but it's possible.
Maybe if they want a viewing.
Think so.
Maybe if they want a viewing type thing, they've got to embalm them to get them to the point where they're not going to just start disappearing.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on the laws around it in Australia, but I feel like some of those chemicals would be flammable, whether or not that's a good or a bad thing.
Yeah. It's just, when you see those, we're going to go, it's totally gross, but it's, when you see those animals that have just I don't know, died in water, and they're just this big bloated,
it happens to people too.
Yeah,
it's
that's what
disgusting.
I mean. I watched one where there was this hippo, and it was just floating, and all these fish, and next thing you know, it's boom.
Yeah.
Kind of like that bloody whale on the beach.
Yes.
That they blew up.
Yeah,
that
disgusting.
Was,
yeah. But I mean, that, and then including things like eye caps and stuff, and
Yeah.
just the little things you don't really know about until you start
Yeah.
looking into the process of
Yeah, true. Because
embalming.
that's all like water, and it's like
Well, it's like a contact with spikes on it,
true.
and they just like put it over your eyeball to hold your eyelids closed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
That's like one of those like a oh geez, like in nature, you put your finger in something, right, and you go to pull it out, and the little spikes are just they're hooked onto it, like a barb.
Yeah.
Yeah, like on a fishing hook, I suppose.
Yeah. So that sort
sick.
of stuff I always found really cool and interesting, and I don't know, gross anatomy and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I love it.
So how long have you been tattooing professionally for?
If we're so I started my apprenticeship in 2017.
Yep.
And I finished that in 2019.
Yep.
So if we're just talking about like me being an actual qualified professional artist, 2020
Yeah.
is
Okay.
when that sort of started.
So what's that? What's that? Like 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, you're killing it too.
Oh, thank
You know,
you.
4 years in, and you know, you've done lots of adventures and so on and so on. Do you have any? That's a good question. Do you have any ambitions to go do some guest spots?
Yes, absolutely. It's actually something I've really been trying to convince myself to do. Because as someone with, like, having recently been diagnosed with just a horrible anxiety disorder, to the point that I apparently don't even realize that I am always anxious.
Yes.
I have, like, acclimated myself to it.
Okay.
So that my body, to me, this just feels normal.
Mm-hmm.
But from what doctors have said, I'm just permanently in a state of anxiety. And so I'm like always very stressed.
Yes.
And so trying to convince myself to be like, I'm going to contact someone and
Yes.
go do a guest spot, but how do I ask? What do I need to take? Like, how do I do this?
It's so in here.
Yeah,
It really is.
yeah.
This is what I'm learning on a large scale at the moment. Like even going to a tattoo convention this weekend, I'm learning that you've got to step outside your comfort zones. You've got to just like, as much as you're like, this is uncomfortable, this is uncomfortable, they don't know how uncomfortable you are.
Yeah.
You know, like you're too busy thinking about what other people think of you. And if you just come at it within like, you know, I don't know, it's kind of like once you do it once, it's like, oh, that
wasn't too bad.
That wasn't so
Yeah,
bad. Like,
yeah.
and meeting these people that you're like, you hold up here.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and then meeting them and then realizing they're just a normal person with like, they've got a dog and a family at home, you know, like it's just very intimidating.
Yeah, yeah.
And it being so intimidating, like what I've realized lately is you've just got to do it.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it, it won't get done.
Yeah.
You know, like, and if you sort of procrastinate on it way too much, you'll find you'll never do it.
Yes.
You know, like
you build it up too much in your own head.
Oh, 100%. 100%. So like, you know, I'm this is me too sort of saying to you like, you can do it.
Yeah.
You're more than capable of doing it. And it's just a matter of stepping out of those boundaries and doing so.
Yeah.
So like at the same time too, I spoke to some people at the convention as well. There is one studio that I reckon you might like that might be a good little breaker for you. That, you know, like, I'm going to go do a guest spot there.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to come along, it might make it a bit easier having, you know, an extra person there that you sort of know.
Yeah.
And since I've done one or two before as well, that you soon learn what the conveniences are. Sometimes you got to, you know, there's nothing worse than when you go to a convention, right? You get there and you're like, I've left everything at home.
Yeah.
Like, where is it? What, you know, I even when I was there, I ran into Loz that used to work down at Velvet Alley.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, you need a hand, mate? And he's like, nah. He goes, I've left me keys for me toolbox back at the hotel.
No.
And I'm like, oh, shit. And he's just like pacing it to the car.
Yeah.
But we will always forget something. It's kind of like when you go on a holiday.
Yeah.
You know, like, I forgot that pair of socks.
Yeah.
Or,
Forgot my toothbrush.
I swear to God, I got it out. And then in your mind's like, there's an image of your toothbrush sitting on that kitchen bench, right? But going there and just getting through the nerves is, and realizing that those people, see, because when you hold yourself to this height or to this standard, right, you think that, it's hard to explain. Like I'm going to go from my experience.
Yeah,
okay?
of course.
So in my experience, I've been to a place and when I got there, they were so unorganized that it wasn't funny.
Yeah.
And they didn't even know I was coming because there was no communication between them.
Oh.
And I got there and the apprentice was there like just sweeping the floors first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm here for my guest spot. Where am I working? And she's like, you are who? and you are where, and I was structured because I had my structure that I have here, and I just took that with me. So I started at 10, I finished at 5, I got there, I had my design ready to go. I had just in case their stencil machine wasn't the one I liked, I had a stencil that was ready to go too. You know, so that I covered all my bases. And then when I got there, like, it was just me tattooing in this random shop that I didn't know anyone. And then everyone rocked up at like 12 o'clock because that's the time they like to start. But as I said, no communication and stuff. But it went to show how organized I am. And how I it actually reassured me that I'm doing a good job. And having a structure like that gets rid of a lot of the stress that I was realizing these other guys had. But at the same time, right, they taught me something too. They taught me to relax. You got to relax.
You got to calm down.
You got to relax, And like I said, I went to his house and we were talking and so I'm like, how do you not sit here now and think about what you have to do tomorrow? He's like, easy, because that's tomorrow. And I'm like, that's not easy, man.
That's not easy.
That is not easy.
That's really difficult.
Absolutely. And you know, then he rocks up the next morning and, what are we doing? Cool. And he goes off and gets the design really quickly put together and then whacks it on and absolutely killed it though. Did such a good. He just relied on his artistic ability so much that he was confident within himself, which was awesome.
That is awesome.
And he didn't need that structure. You know, it was kind of like, what are we doing? Cool. And the client was good, but mind you, started at 12. Didn't start tattooing until maybe like 1 or 2, and then got out of there like 7, 8.
Okay, dude.
You know, see, right? Like
being a morning person, that sounds awful to me.
But like going back to doing guest spots,
you
know, like the more you work around people, and the more people you meet, as you would know working here too, that there has been a lot of people that have come and gone.
Yes, absolutely.
And we've all of us have learnt something from that person before they left.
Definitely.
You know, so even if you can go to a studio and give somebody else something, you know, like and you will learn something back, even if it doesn't have to be positive. It can be negative. But you'll know that's what you don't want anymore. You know, you're like, well, or you'll respect your way of doing things better.
Okay. Yeah, interesting.
You got it. You got it.
Yeah.
I think too, like, you know, it's also trying to go to a place also that is potentially people who do your style of work as well. You know, that's a fun one.
I mean, like Scarlet Temple, I feel like would be a really fun place to go.
Those girls look like they're having a lot of fun.
And like everyone there has like just this awesome dark gritty kind of style.
One of the girls is actually from Ballarat. I was talking to her a little while ago. There
you go.
Okay, hang on. Oh,
more questions.
So you got,
I love the massive font you've chosen.
No, I feel like an old man, but no, I didn't choose that.
Okay.
I just created it.
I
cropped it out, and then it came out this way. Okay, what do you think sets a great tattoo artist, apart from a good one? Whoa, that's rough.
That is I feel like there could probably be a few different things. It really just depends on the person themselves. Like I fully believe that tattoo artists should know how to draw and draw well. I think that being able to call yourself a tattoo artist, not just a tattooist, actually bring the word artist back into it. You know what you're doing. So like if something goes wrong in the stencil, or if you need to do like a gap filler or something, you can just draw it on there and everything's fine.
Oh, absolutely.
Or things like, you know, quite often we'll just do the line work up for a stencil and not have any sort of like shading reference or anything. You just do what feels right.
It's off the top of your head. That brings a really good point. That just made me go ting. Like, so in the tattoo industry, it used to be, there's tattoo artists and tattooists, right? Tattoo artists were hard to come by, but tattooists were everywhere, right? So I'll have a number 5, please. And that tattoo that's on the wall wasn't drawn by that tattoo artist.
No, it was drawn by someone.
It was drawn by someone.
It wasn't even like in the studio at any point.
Absolutely no. It was each studio you went to had pretty much the same flash on the walls. And there was and you just had to get there, do the tattoo, off you go. But then new school stuff started kicking in. And then when new school stuff came in, that required drawing. There's no there's no realism, there's no imagery, there's no nothing for something like that.
Everything is altered based on what the artist wants it to be.
Absolutely, you know, like, and it was all drawn by, you know, like, and that goes to turning us into custom tattoo artists, right? And then now, though, I think it might be, it's shifting a little, but I think even though most of us are doing realism, I feel like if we were doing realism, we're not drawing that.
Yeah.
We're finding photos of things on the internet. And basically, like, do you reckon the internet's like our flash wall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, everyone draws inspiration from so many different places, but the one standard is the internet. You want a picture of someone's face on the internet. Picture of a lion, it's on the internet. Picture of a building, it's on the internet. So, I would say, in a way, absolutely.
Yeah. No, because I personally feel it, because everything was pen and paper.
Yep.
And now everything's iPad, double click, disappear, splice images together and stuff like that.
There's no more like redrawing the design on 6 different bits of paper, so you can pull the bits that you like from the first one and then combine them with something else.
Yeah, I think that sort of, that changes a lot of things, doesn't it? Because we don't draw in realism either. Like, I know if I drew, I draw in like a neo-traditional sort of style. It has a realistic shape, but it has a hard outline. Not like a soft pencil, you know, like realism, but I tattoo realism.
And it's interesting because when I draw, like I did a lot of charcoals and that sort of thing, and I would draw photorealism or realism, but that's not necessarily what I tattoo. I have elements of realism in my work, absolutely.
But understanding that realism when you're drawing something, you know, even though you don't tattoo realism, but understanding where shadows, lights, understanding how something is, it's hard to explain, like where contours of facial bones are.
Yeah, the actual physical shape of the thing, not just the 2D image of it. Yeah.
If you got the imagination that you had that thing in your hand and you could twist and look at it and stuff like that, I think that's something that people are losing today. You know, that people are losing their imagination on you've got to know a little bit about absolutely everything.
Yep.
You know, you can't just come into it and go, all right, I am 100% just this.
Yeah.
No, you've got to have a broad range of knowledge. Even if you don't use it, you've got to know it. It's like me and Jay were talking about when somebody wants a particular tattoo of something, you've got to know what goes with that.
Yeah.
And what, like, let's say we're doing a bird, right? We'll go back to the bird combo.
Yeah, okay.
Like, if we're tattooing a bird, you've got to know the anatomy of the wings of the bird.
Yeah.
You can't just go, oh, okay, cool, I'm just going to draw a bird and it's the shape of what you imagine a bird would look like. But if you don't know that it's meant to have, like, freaking, I don't know, 5 tail feathers, you know, and you put 6 or 7 in there, it's incorrect.
Yeah, and it may not matter to the client, but it should matter to you.
Oh, they show a bird enthusiast, and the bird enthusiast is like, well, that's wrong.
Yeah.
You know, like, and imagine how that person feels. Like, oh, my tattooist did the wrong bird.
Yeah.
You know, like...
It's honestly one of the parts I love about the design process is research.
Yeah.
I love researching. I quite often tell my clients when they come in for, like, a movie-themed or a game-themed tattoo, I actually sit down and watch the movie while I'm drawing the design.
Right.
And like read up on the directors and what their influences were when they were actually making the movie.
That's really smart.
So I can fit as much symbolism into the piece as I possibly can, because once I start explaining to them why I did this and why I did that, they love it. They're like, how did you fit this much in? I didn't even know about that.
Well, that also comes down to giving somebody like something of their own. There's something new. Yeah. I mean, like, if you're looking up, let's say Star Wars, right? Mm-hmm. You're looking up Star Wars images to put on a person. There's always that like one image of Darth Vader that everyone wants.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yep. It's like, but why don't we try and find a still frame in the movie that's a whole different angle or a different place or something, a different scene that everyone else has done.
Yeah, and not just the standard, like, he's looking straight forwards, or the one where he's kind of in, like, a 3/4 profile.
Yes.
That's pretty much it. You say Darth Vader tattoo, that's the one that nearly everyone has.
But it's also because it's one of the most recognizable images because it is so out there. Yeah. And it's like, it's the poster.
Yeah, it's
you know what I mean?
Clearer as well.
Yeah.
Just because it's not necessarily a still from the movie, so you can get the amount of detail in there that someone might want, whereas sometimes you have to kind of look at the blurry areas
Mhm.
and then look at the originals and like the posters and be like, okay, so this is supposed to look like this, but
Yes.
in my reference, it's just not there at all.
Yeah, but also sort of opening their eyes to like, oh wow, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know, like, oh, he's supposed to have, like, let's say you're doing a Western tattoo, right?
Yeah.
And he wants them to be period correct. You've got to try and find the right guns, the right type of attire, you know, all that sort of stuff that goes with it. And you've got to try and learn about guns.
Yes.
You've got to try and learn about what they used to wear back then.
Yeah.
Not just find a photo that someone else has dressed up and got a photo
Yeah,
of them,
it's not
but
period
they might not
correct.
have the right
Yeah.
gun, or, you know, you don't know that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah, cool.
Well, what's your favourite thing to tattoo?
My favorite thing
Yeah.
to tattoo. As of what I have done in my career so far, probably the dark, like, aesthetic lady faces.
Lady faces.
Yeah,
okay.
so like giving them the sort of demonic aspects, or like the blood dripping from the eyes, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I love doing that, but there's so much more that I want to do that I feel like I would have a good time with,
Okay.
but nobody is interested in getting it as yet.
Do you know what that is?
Oh yeah, I really
Yeah.
want to get into some like dark abstract work.
Dark abstract. So,
Yeah.
school me on what dark abstract is.
So sort of more ornamental kind of pieces,
Okay.
but not in a symmetrical way that you would like generally imagine ornamental.
So not like Gothic cathedral type stuff, which is all perfectly symmetrical.
Yeah.
And so you want to go
If you
for
imagine that, but messy, as if it was like brush strokes and
Okay.
there's like drippy bits, and not everything is exactly perfect.
okay.
And I would love to do that, but freehand. So
Okay.
actually have someone come in and be happy to sit down for a couple of hours while I draw these sort of designs on them, and then tattoo it. It's not something that I think I would stencil at all. But
Okay.
That just feels like it would take away from the creative process.
You would just go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. But obviously it's a bit of an undertaking, and it
Well-
requires a level of trust from the client as well that
Looking at someone and saying, "Trust me,
Yeah.
I want to do this. I haven't done it before, but I
Yeah.
want to do it." Like,
yeah, so at the moment I've like occasionally incorporated some into pieces, but I would love to do some work that focuses more on abstract sort of shapes.
I believe you've got a good clientele following.
Yeah.
That if you just were like, "Who wants this?"
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure someone. Well, I'm not pretty sure. Someone will come.
Yeah, eventually.
100%.
It's like the age old, you have a piece of flash up on the wall and it might sit up there for 6 months before somebody is like,
Yeah.
I'd really like to get that tattooed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
You know, like that's and that suits your whole outlook and what you love, and that's the fun part about tattooing, right? Is trying to find that next thing that inspires you and makes you want to create.
Yes.
You know, like
Yeah.
it does get mundane sometimes.
Yeah,
we
or
get,
even just, you have to be creative and thinking about things in different ways so often that you leave yourself very little energy to keep going. So you hit a block where the things that would normally inspire you, you've just got nothing left, and you
Yeah.
have to just like force it out and be like, okay, I need to make this design. This person's booked in. You know.
there are also so many tattooists now,
Yes.
and to try and make yourself stand out
Yep.
a little bit of the crowd, to have your own, you know, we were talking about it before about having your own style and everyone knows that's you. But imagine doing a tattoo that everyone's like, who did that? And they can't tell it's yours.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's the
and
scary
then-
part about branching out.
Yeah, like, you know, and now trying to come into something new and different, to be the person that's like, oh wow, that's new, that's cool. But as to what kind of market there is for that too, we've also got to think about. I know I do this too. I know that I won't potentially draw something or make something that I like, because I might waste my time on the fact that it might not sell.
Yeah.
Because the ideal thing of doing this job is, I love my job, I do love creating, but I also have to provide,
Yes.
and
You've got a family.
I've got a family, yeah. And you know, if someone said to me, you know, like, why don't you design or you draw at home? And I'm like, because I only design and draw when people ask me to,
Yeah.
and when they ask me to, a lot of them say, okay, I want a skull, and you do it in any way you want, and I'm like, anyway, and they're like, anyway, sick. They've given me a subject matter
Yeah.
that I can work from. But if I have my own, like, just a white piece of paper,
Yeah.
I, for the life of me, go blank.
Yeah.
And I start going into like, what do I draw? I could draw this, I could draw that, and my anxiety kills me.
Yeah.
It kicks
There's
my
so
ass.
many things you could do. Where do you possibly begin?
100%.
Yeah.
And what if, what if I do this and it doesn't sell? Like I need to make sure that it's something that's going to be fruitful, but at the same time, I enjoy it. So I think it's just a matter of getting your career to a good point as well, that people do potentially start to trust you and allow you to do your own work.
Yeah.
And like I had a girl, Brody. I had a girl and she came to me and she goes, I want like a gangster style, like Chicano themed leg sleeve. Yeah. And I was like, that's really cool. I really love that. And she got this girl with a dagger and some roses, excuse me. But I didn't want to make it really blokey.
Yeah.
I didn't want to make it so that it was like the same image that everyone on the internet does. So yeah,
just googling Chicano tattoo.
Oh, absolutely.
It's the first one that comes up.
Yeah. So we ended up doing like a gangster doing a gang sign, but the gang sign was him doing a love heart, and it literally just said like it still had the style.
Yeah.
But it had like a fun little twist to it, a fun little
cool.
flair. And she was like, "It's not what I would have asked for, but I love it."
Yeah.
And I'm like, whew. there was like that pause for 2 seconds, and the same as like. She's like, okay, I trust you. You just do it. And then we did Bugs Bunny on the last one with the.
I remember that. Yeah.
And I was like, she said the same thing. She goes, it's not what I ever thought I was coming in to get today. She goes, but I walked out of here so in love with that tattoo, and I'm like, that's the fun part where people start to trust you to do you and to make them comfortable. You know what I mean? So yeah, you'll get to a good point.
Yeah, and you're how many years in at this point? I've got like 7 years to go.
Well, look. In reality, like to make myself feel better about it, I suppose my delete some COVID years.
Oh,
absolutely.
And like the in betweens where you're just like getting things set up and figuring things out, we can delete those too.
Yeah. And like, I'm not sure if we actually got this in. I think we didn't have the microphones. But how long have you been tattooing for now again?
So it was 4 years as a fully qualified artist.
That's right, yeah.
And then another 2 years as an apprentice.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, yeah. Like, would you? I don't know. Would you do it any other way?
Would I do it any other way?
Would you do it any other way?
Mean?
I don't know. That's a weird question. I don't know. That's just like, I was just thinking to myself in my own mind, right, that I never did an apprenticeship.
Okay.
Like, I feel like
I in ways wish that it had been different, but at the same time,
you appreciate.
I was someone who did a very difficult apprenticeship.
Yes.
And a lot of people forget that.
Yes.
And they forget that I worked so hard, I ruined my life. At the end of my apprenticeship, I had nothing left except my job.
Yep.
I got that qualification, and that was literally the only thing I had going for me in my life. I barely saw my family. Yep. My partner broke up with me. I had no money because I had to spend everything I had on like trying to fix the falling pieces of my life, because I was always at work and I was always doing work, and I was always in a terrible mood because the people that I was doing my apprenticeship under were not my kind of people.
Yes.
And they treated me in a way that was very bad for my mental health. People talk about how they mop the floors maybe like every second day in their apprenticeship, and for us it was like, you're doing nothing, mop the floor again, 5th time today. We were screamed at, we were yelled at, we were always cleaning, always working, nothing was ever good enough. But it disciplined me and got me to the point where I am now, where I can relax a little bit. It's hard to, but I try and make sure I do. It's because I put the hard work in.
100%. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
How many people would have just quit?
A lot of people did.
How many people just gave up on that? And I mean, like, you were like, no, this is a choice I made.
As I said,
this is what I started, and I'm gonna finish this.
It was this or I die.
So that's what I mean.
I was like, I have to get through this.
But
it's my only option.
How much more do you appreciate what you do now, though?
I have to imagine it's an infinitely massive difference to someone who has had things very easy. I hate to say it, sorry, but
do it. This is the there's no filter on this. Like,
I have watched people have very, very easy apprenticeships and then notice that they don't have the passion at the end of it that it's going to take to get them through the times of year where it's really slow, or the times where no one wants what you want to do and you just have to kind of do it.
They also don't have the drive to put themselves out there to get that work back. They just kind of they'll complain too much.
Yeah.
That it's just, I don't have any work today, and it's like, what are you doing to change that?
Yeah, it's entirely on us.
Yeah.
Like, we are responsible for bringing in our own work, and if you're not getting work, you're not putting enough into it, I don't think. So yeah, I just, in my experience, people who have had a difficult time starting out generally seem to, once they get through that, have more respect for the industry, have much more discipline, and they're in it for the long run. And people who seem to have had a bit of an easier start into things, they just don't have it.
That also, like, being a shop owner too, right? And having people come to me asking me to teach them, you know, like, I know this is going to be a common conversation, I'm guessing, between everyone that I speak to about how they became an artist and how, what they went through to get to where they are now.
Yeah.
You know, like, me trying to take on people and teach them, I know that I have been way too lenient and way too nice about things. But at the same time, it's just, I don't know if I can bring myself to
It's hard to be hard on people.
To treat people that way. You know, like, as much as I am a little blunt sometimes when I say things.
You want people to have it better than you did.
100%.
Yeah.
But this is like raising children, right? You want them to have everything you never had, but you want them to respect what they have at the same time.
Yeah.
And appreciate it, and potentially go that extra mile if they have to.
Yeah.
Not just like, good nothing today. And it's like, well, do something about it.
Yes.
You know, like, I really want that, but I'm never going to make it. Well, you're not going to make it with that attitude. You know, like, it's I don't know, it's a hard one. Like, me personally, starting my career, I started when I was 17 years old. This is going to go like, you know, so I was 17 years old.
Yeah.
I left school at 16.
Yep.
And I went to go work at Skilled Engineering, making fire trucks. And that taught me a lot of group effort stuff. That taught me a lot of, like, you've got to show up on time. You've got to make sure that you're, you know, it held me accountable.
Yeah, you're a part of a team there, and if you're not there, you could mess up someone else's
But I had to grow up fast.
Yeah.
16 years old in a full workshop full of 40, 50-year-old men.
Yep.
You know, like, it was an eye-opener.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I stuck at that for a couple of years. But on the side, when I was living at home with my mother, she picked up a tattoo machine off of eBay. And this is like, I was 17, I am 36 now.
Yeah.
So 19 years ago. She picked up a tattoo machine off eBay, probably one of those $10 specials. Coil machine, mind you. There was no rotaries back then.
Oh, yeah, no.
And, she bought a few, and we practiced on practice skins on the weekend, because I lived in the country. There wasn't a great deal of anything to do. So I just started practicing on tribals and, like, vines and stuff for girls, and just whatever I could find on the internet. I remember having a CD that had flash designs on it from people's flash artists' designs that they used to sell to tattoo studios.
Yeah.
You know, they made their way onto the internet. The old Cherry Creek flash.
Classic.
That stuff still holds up. I swear to God, those feathers.
It does, yeah.
They're feathers, but not their vagina roses.
No.
All their roses look like they got vaginas in it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a style. It's an aesthetic. Some people want vaginas tattooed on them.
They do. Yeah. Well, that's something we were talking about before. How do you go to the swimming pool with your kids with a vagina on you? You know, like, how do you... Yeah, that's it. Like, when you're young, it's like, oh, it's a vagina. And then you go to the pool and they're like, what's that, Mum? Well, Dad?
I mean, half the population's got one.
Well, that's a good way of putting it. But they're not walking around with it hanging out.
No, but they are walking around with it on them. So...
Yeah, touche. That's all right. So, in other words, wear some long socks if it's on your leg. Just, you know?
Yeah. Just wear a wetsuit to the pool. You'll be fine.
Well, you have to if you got that. So,
yeah.
Anyway, so starting out at 17, I tattooed my own leg, which is this blue nautical star.
That you've done the shading wrong.
Oh yeah, the nautical star with the blue, black, blue, black, 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 blue.
Yep.
Oh no! Like, because
You start working one way, and then you're like, oh, I'll just go the other way around because it's going to be easier for my hand. And
it's
then
my kryptonite.
it's
my kryptonite. I get in a flow, and then I go, oh no. You know, I even went around and went black, dotted each one in the middle. Yep. So in one of these blue ones, there's a black dot in the middle of it. But so I started doing that just on myself, you know, back in Snake Valley at home. And then my mum was tattooing her boyfriend and stuff like this, and she was just, you know, mucking around. And one day I came home from work, and she's like, "Can you help? Can you help? Can you help?" I'm like, "Why? What's going on?" She's like, "My boyfriend started this butterfly on my shoulder, and he wiped all the stencil away, and I need you to finish it."
Oh, God.
And I've just come home from work. I'm all dirty. I'm in my overalls, and I'm like, "Well, okay, all right." And that was the first tattoo I did on another person, was on my mum.
Yeah.
And I never looked back.
Cool.
I did that, and then I had some jobs around the way. But every single weekend, I potentially started tattooing, like, close friends, you know, people who were just freshly turning 18 and stuff like that. And you know, like, I was potentially a home job tattoo artist, but I wasn't just inviting people into my house.
Yeah.
It was only people that I knew that I was practicing it, and they were like, "Oh, can I get this little one, this little spider or something like that?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, just give us $20 for ink." You know, it was my hobby at that point.
Yeah.
And, you know, I worked a few places, and then my mum got she moved to Ararat and got a dental van. And the dental van, it was one of those ones that they used to plonk at schools.
Yeah.
And, so sure enough, she paid however many thousands and put this dental van there, got it all health approved. And, sure enough, I had a place to work.
Yeah, wow.
And, you know, I did X amount of days in Ballarat at normal work, and then the other days I'd be down in Ararat, just in the bungalow, tattooing my friends or stuff like that, until it got to the point where, well, look, I'm going to go ahead and say I overtook my mum pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's seen it as money.
Yeah.
She was always a money-making person that always seen the quickest money-making scheme ever. And, you know, like, she sort of didn't see the art. She was a great artist, mind you. Our grandfather was a cartoonist. Nan was, like, always, you know, the whole family was art.
Yeah.
And so, and anyways, from there, I lost my job in Ballarat, and she's like, well, what are we going to do? And she goes, well, how about we open a shop on the main street of Ararat? So I was 21, and I opened a tattoo studio in Ararat.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and so, like, that's what I mean, though, right? But I at that point, I was not ready.
Yep.
I wasn't ready. If I look back at it, but it got me to where I am now.
Yeah.
I had to learn.
We all start somewhere.
Yeah, I had to learn by doing a lot of, like, oh geez, I look back at it. I've got some MySpace tattoos.
Oh
right?
My God.
Yeah. Back on the old MySpace. I actually found my old digital camera that I bought from the post office not long ago.
Yeah.
And it's got some of my, like, first work on it.
Wow.
And oh geez, my first portrait, it was bad. But, you know, like, I didn't have anyone around me to tell me how bad it was.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the worst part. I didn't have someone look over my shoulder being like, that's shit. I had too much positive support. I had too many people being like, oh, that's fucking sick. I love this so much. And, you know, like, that comes into that negative support, right?
Yeah.
Negative support can potentially, like, if someone just came at me with some criticism, I would have been like, oh, shit, you're right, hey.
Yeah.
But no.
There are people out there who need the negative criticism.
100%.
Like, there are people who shouldn't be tattooing.
But could
based
they
on
take
the work that they're doing, but everyone supports them and lifts them up. And I'm like, is this a good or a bad thing? Because you want to support people. The more they try, the better they'll go to get.
Well, look, this is that don't smack your children thing, right?
How long is it going to take for them to get better? And how many more tattoos are they going to just royally fuck up?
Thank you.
On people's bodies?
Yeah, thank you. So, like, I would have potentially been in a better place if I had have had that.
Yeah.
Because, well, what I mean by that too is like, if I had some kind of person to help me to get to where I am today, it would have been fast-tracked.
Yeah.
But it's not. It wasn't. Yeah. And I find that I'm learning now, 19 years or so into it, that I'm still learning. And I still want to do these other things.
And that's a great thing.
Yeah. And that gets back into the what you want to do and where do you want to go. And if you get too complacent within your art and you have too much support around you telling you you've done such a good job, that you'll just sink into a corner. And when you sink into that corner, you won't grow any further. You won't reach out any further. You'll be happy with your little bubble. you know, and
Always got to have some sort of drive to be better, do better.
but that bubble won't last.
Yeah.
Because the industry is always changing.
Oh, definitely. Even just in the last couple of years, things have changed so much. Even just the amount of artists who are out there, that's had a crazy impact on things. And I'm noticing more people tattooing who didn't complete full apprenticeships. And I feel like that is really changing the current state of the industry.
Well, see, that's exactly right too, because they're just like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Like, they're leaving apprenticeships way too early, and as soon as they leave, it's not like there's a piece of paper that says, here, you're qualified.
Yeah, no.
And people...
Not here anyway.
People out, people out there start going, oh, okay, cool. Well, you're a tattoo artist. You do tattoos. You've got a tattoo machine.
Yep.
Like, you can do mine. And then they get it. They see this Procreate picture, right, which is perfect because it's got all the tools, pop them nice and straight and circular.
And then
they go, I want that. And then they get it and they're like, it's squiggly as hell.
Yep.
You know, like, I think the false expectations of what people can draw today compared to what they can tattoo is totally different.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and even understanding that sometimes perfect lines is not what you want in a tattoo. There are definitely cases where they should be, like, everything needs to be perfect. But having something feel organic, you don't want perfect lines. You want it to feel like somebody has actually drawn this, not this is from Procreate and now it's on your body in like the little sticker form. It doesn't always work.
Yeah, I get that. Cool. All right, let's see what else we got.
Yeah,
I reckon there was some cool ones in here.
Just realizing that this is going to be full of me going,
No, me too. Yeah. Yeah. All the ums and ahs. Absolutely.
My default response.
Oh, geez, these are real to the point, real full on questions too.
Oh shit! I didn't come prepared for this.
No, I know, right? I was just I didn't come prepared either, so I just whacked it in ChatGPT and it gave you some cool ones.
Yeah.
What advice would you offer to aspiring tattoo artists looking to break into the industry?
Learn how to draw.
Yeah.
If you think you are a good artist, you are not. Put more effort into it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's literally the better of an artist you are, the less work you're going to have to do to learn how to do tattoo designs, because you'll know how to draw. You just have to learn how to structure a tattoo.
Yep.
But you're also going to increase your following on social media because you're a better artist and people are looking at your work and actually being like, I really like this.
I'm going to add to this too, right? If you want an apprenticeship, don't just fucking message me on Facebook.
Yeah.
Walk into the tattoo studio, get a tattoo, learn the environment, get me to know your face. Let me know who you are as a person. And it's not just about, hey, you're offering it, I want it. No, I'm going to ignore you because you haven't taken the correct steps and the right time of day and some initiative to walk in. I remember when I first went for my SEM one, right?
Yep.
I was wearing a suit and a tie and shoes to work in a factory.
Yep.
I'm not telling you to put a suit and a tie on, but if you walked in here with a suit and a tie after watching this video, I might consider it.
Yeah.
But I might not too. Yeah.
I think also I've noticed, because I got a lot of message about people wanting to be apprentices as well. I'm sure you get so many.
It's killing me. It's like, hey, I'm just in VCE. I want it. I think I'd be good at this. And it's like, that's great, man. I think I'd be good at a lot of things.
Have no experience in the industry, acting as if they're going to be an asset.
Yeah,
I get that a lot.
I'm going to be something good to you. I'm going to be great for you.
Like, I'm going to be the perfect addition to your studio. Not understanding that actually it's a huge detriment to have an apprentice. It's so much time that you have to take away from your career.
My kids.
Create one. Yeah, your kids,
my
your family.
life, my dog.
Yeah, to start someone else's career. You're giving a piece of yourself to them. They are not an asset at all until they pass the apprenticeship stages, I don't think.
But the thing is there though too, right? What I've learned just recently also is once you've hit that stride and you are not an apprentice anymore, you still have to have respect for where you came from.
Yes.
You still have to have some kind of a respect towards the person who gave you the skills to be who and who, well, not to be who you are, to be able to provide and all that sort of stuff. The people, that person that took the time away from their life, it's exactly that. It is also like an exchange of time.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, like me taking away from my life to give you something.
Yeah.
You know, like, and then you just go, oh, thanks, see, bye. You know, I think that's just where people's mindset is now, though, too, right? That it's like, oh, I've just handed you a piece of paper or something. All right, cool, thanks.
Yeah.
They don't see all the work and it's just like tattooing. We do a tattoo on someone, right? And they love it. They don't see all that hard work we did at home. You know, like, and then they're like, oh, that's pretty expensive. And it's like, well, yeah, because that's what my time is worth. Yeah. You know, so it's good fun like that. Yeah. So when do you see yourself doing a convention?
I was supposed to do one this year, and then I convinced myself that it was not worth it.
There's still,
just like financially.
There's still 2 more.
There is 2 more. And I'm like, do I do rights? It's just a lot. Yeah. It's a lot. I'm like, I'm going to do it to myself again and be like, next year is my year. I'm going to do conventions.
Well, and, I have so rites of passage is fun. Yeah. And it's good. It's very big. Yeah. And it's changed a lot. It used to be it used to be very artist driven. Yeah. Now it's a little bit circusy. Okay. You know, like you got more fire blowing people
and for the consumer.
It's it really is. And you know, like this ink expo that just happened recently, it's actually run by a tattoo artist.
Yeah, it's the guy who owns Melbourne Tattoo Supplies.
Yes. Yeah. And he's got a tattoo studio as well. Yeah. And but at the same time, right, I met him. He wasn't cocky or nothing. He was like, oh, hey, man, yeah, cool. Yeah. He was a really cool guy, but I find that it wasn't as crazy, outrageously out there, but it was very artist-driven. Yeah. All of the big-name Melbourne tattoo artists, Adelaide, Brisbane, all that were around, and it was good. Everyone got to mingle and talk and have fun, and it wasn't just like, here's this attraction for people to come and stand, like walk past and stare at people getting tattoos and stuff like that. It was very artist driven. All right. You know, so I think what I'm gonna do, if you would like to come, I want to do a full size booth with a bunch of other people that we've got close to and stuff like that as well, and just go for it. Yeah. Yeah, and just go for it, but that won't be for a year. Yeah. So basically 12 months from now. All right. So we've got it on camera. Yeah. Next year. Inked Expo. As much as I do like these other ones, and it's okay, but you don't get to mingle. Yeah. And it's all just work, pressure. Yeah. And I would say Inked Expo has had like the best vibes. Oh yeah. Like it's not quite so intimidating, and like I remember going to Oz Tattoo Expo and some of the artists there, some of the international artists there in particular, did not want to talk. They did not want anyone around them. As an artist, it was like, oh, okay, I came to like just hang out with the other artists here. And it's actually really hard to work at. Yeah. It really is. Like it's still work at the end of the day. Because when you go there, you still got a tattoo to do. Yeah. You know, and what a lot of people have is you're sitting there doing your tattoo, and then you've got someone working the counter for you. So they're talking to people about your art and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, like you don't want to be rude. But at the same time, you've got to put all your focus into doing a good job, and so on and so on. But yeah, if you'd like to come, I'd like to do one. You know, the next one. Yeah. You know, so that it's like I said, you just got to pull it, and it's not that bad. It really isn't. It's just hectic in the fact you forget things, you know, stuff like that. So I think doing guest spots prior to running up to it would help a lot. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sweet. Yeah. It's a day. It's a plan. We'll do it. Done. All right. Have you got a question for me? That. Yes, I think you've kind of half answered it already, but my question was just going to be, like, obviously you're a studio owner, you have a lot of responsibilities, and you also have, like, a whole team of self-employed, essentially, artists working for you, so they're all doing their own thing, but at the same time, they're here under you. How, like, do you find it's your responsibility, or how important is it in your day-to-day list of tasks that you need to get done to
sorry, I'm just choking over here. Like, be involved in what everyone else is doing, and like, do you feel that it's a part of your responsibilities to be a positive impact on their day to day here, or is it sort of just?
I think it's just
emotions.
It's just being human.
Yeah.
Just humanity.
Yeah.
You know, like if you've got people around you that do what you do as well, and we're all here to inspire each other. Okay, like I know what you're saying as well when it comes to. I do own this studio, but at the same time I don't own the people in it.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with trying to own the people in it.
Some people really have this, like, you're not self-employed. Like, even though you are, no, you work for me and you are here to make me money. So,
there is a level.
Yeah.
There is a level for sure.
Yeah.
There is definitely, this is a house of particular artists that rent a space. But at the same time, as if you want a space here, you've got to work for it.
Yeah.
You know, like it's kind of, look, there is that thing there of being tattooing for 19 years and having a following and people knowing who I am and a reputation to uphold.
Yeah.
And as soon as someone comes into here, if they try and tarnish that reputation, they have to leave.
Yeah. Well, our names all become attached to yours, being that it is your studio.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, people, it's basically, I'm vouching for you.
Yeah.
I'm vouching for the fact that I believe that you are a good artist and I would like you to be here with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm still learning.
Of course, yeah.
I'm 100% still learning, and, you're going to make mistakes and stuff like that, and it's always going to be up and down, and it's going to adjust, and, it can't always be great.
Yeah.
It's like a relationship. You're going to have your good times and you're going to have your bad times.
Yeah.
It's more how you handle them.
Yeah, of course.
If you completely... And at the same time, too, when people leave, it's like a breakup. It's like we've invested in each other. We've been here so long together. We've got bonds and we've got connections and stuff like that. Yes, people do have to move on. And yes, people have to go and do their own thing at some point, but it's just a matter of the respect that comes with how they do it.
Yeah, sometimes people leave and then you never hear from them again, and that can hurt.
Yeah, so sometimes when they go to Aldi and just don't come back, like, especially if it's just be straight up.
Fuck.
just be fucking straight up.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, I think it's time for me to move on. Like,
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I've worked in places where it's like, all right, well, I think I'm going to go do something else because I don't feel like I'm growing here.
It's just not the right situation
But
anymore.
yeah, exactly. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want people to leave,
Yeah.
but I want to help them grow as well.
Yeah.
And if they feel like they're getting stuck, and if I can help some kind of guidance in that, I want to help.
Great attitude to have.
Yeah, like it's not just like, you're doing better than me. No, fuck that. It was like Cherie. I'm going to say it straight up, it's like Cherie. When her mum and dad said to me, "Oh, what if she becomes better than you?" I've done a good job.
Yeah, I mean,
You know
that's
what I mean?
you want in an apprentice is that you are able to help them to the point that they like go beyond the point that you were able to at that point in time.
Absolutely. But then there's the level of respect I was talking about.
Yes. Yeah.
Like if you feel like it's time to go or it's time to move on or something's not working for you and you're not voicing it and you're feeling guilty within yourself about that, you know what I mean? Like it's better to, as hard as that conversation could be or would have been or so on and so on, you have to have it.
Communication
The more you run away from that conversation, the more disrespect that happens, the less chance of any kind of, I don't know, less chance of any kind of, just meet up like later on in life.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, there's no words, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm going to relate this back to children.
Okay.
Totally. I go see a therapist. I love her. Danielle.
Yeah.
You're awesome. She's amazing. When we were talking about how, as we grew up as kids and stuff like that, as being a boy as well, and having a dad that was very hard, and he would be angry and he would smack you, and you would be in trouble, and you would go to bed crying and upset. Then he wouldn't come back in there and say, "Sorry, little buddy, like, I love you. I just had to teach you a lesson." Like, he wouldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
And if there was no talking, you wake up the next day and you're like, am I still in trouble?
Yeah.
And if they're not talking to you and you sort of still, there's a tension, and that tension never gets resolved.
Yeah.
You know, so to resolve things is very important.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
it's I know myself, I've had to smack my children, and out of complete, like, I don't do it often, and if I have to, I have to, and I don't enjoy it, but I know it's something I've got to do, and then I explain to them why.
Yep.
And I get on their level, and we have a big hug. I still tell them how much I love them, you know, and then the next day there's no questions.
Yep.
There's no, it's more just, I better not do that again, because I understand how much that upset Dad. He had to smack me.
Yep.
You know, so it's definitely having that conversation, and as hard as they can be, you got to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting how even that has changed over the years. So, like, I got smacked as a child, and then my younger brothers, not once.
Oh, really?
Not once.
Damn, yeah, but see, what's happened...
Times changed.
But see, as children, we get handed tools. We get handed these tools. If you do this, you get this.
Yep.
Okay, so but you grow into an adult.
Learn about the consequences of your actions.
Yes. As you grow up, I was like, is that a squirrel?
Sorry. Squirrel shoes.
As you grow into an adult, though, those tools don't work anymore.
Yeah.
If you
You just go around hitting people and they do something you don't like.
If you flop on
Some
the
people
floor
do. Some
at the
people do.
supermarket and go, I wanted a lolly, and they hand you a lolly, you grow up thinking, if I flop myself on the floor, I'm going to get a lolly.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? You think that, I didn't get what I wanted, and it's like, well, it doesn't work like that anymore.
No, it doesn't. No one gets what they want.
So a good kick up the ass if your kid's on the floor,
Yeah.
you know, teaching him that's not how you get what you want.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like...
you work really hard and then you still don't get it. And then you're like, life sucks.
then be a bit upset.
Yeah.
But you've put your effort in.
Yeah,
And you've done your hard yards
then
and
you
you've tried.
You can be upset, but you can be like, I did try. I gave it my best.
That's absolutely. You know, but you tried.
Yeah.
And this is a major thing. Look, I'm going to relate this to kids again. Mm-hmm. This is one of the major things I try and tell my children, even my daughter, right? Peas and corn. Hates peas and corn.
What?
I don't know. It's a veggie. Any veggie, I'm out. She'll pick through fried rice, right?
No.
Yeah, I know, right?
No.
But I said to her, you know, she sits at the table and I do that dad thing of like, yeah, you veggies,
Yeah.
rah. And as long as she has a good go,
Okay.
and has a good go and proves to me that she's trying, that's okay. But if she sits there and just complains and yells and screams and I don't want this, you know, rah, that's when you're in trouble, right?
Yeah.
That's when it's like, you're in bed now, see you later.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but if she had a good go and she had a really good try and proved to me she had a go at it, then there's leniency.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the same thing as people and the same thing as anything. If there's good intentions there, or if there's, you know, or if you understand their situation, why, because you get to know them better, of why they didn't tell you or whatever, there can be leniency. Mm-hmm. Or they tried to tell you, but they couldn't quite get it right, there's leniency. But if it's just a fucking, see you later, I'm gone, well, you don't have to explain why.
Yeah.
This is what I keep telling my wife. You don't have to explain things in life to people. You just need to let them know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, hey guys, I'm finishing in the end of 2 weeks. It's time for me to move on. It's not like, I fucking hate it here. It's too hot. It's too cold. It's, you know, like, Jay insults me every day. Like, no, you don't have to explain yourself.
Yeah.
Just do it respectfully and bow out.
Yeah.
You know, like, not like, oh, I would never. I would, you know, like, I hate that. Mm-hmm. That kills me in life. People who give you a fake promise is, I would never do that to you.
Yeah.
And then the next day, they've done it to you. That is just the worst. But look, here's me being an optimist and going, what made them act that way?
Yeah.
How did they learn to deal with their problems? I'm guessing they never did learn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
just shove it inside, bottle it up.
Yeah, that's it. Be a man. Just force it down further and further. Yeah, that's right. Oh, Jesus. People today, hey, I think this is where we're going to keep. This is going to be a reoccurring thing of people today.
Yeah.
But you know, at the same time, is where do you see the industry going? Where do you see what's next?
I don't have an answer for this one.
No, It's not even on my thing. I'm just literally talking.
Where do I see the industry
Where do you
going?
see it going?
I feel like there's going to be a bit of a collapse soon.
Yes.
We are way too oversaturated. And again, there are just people going around and tattooing who I don't think they're going to make it through the quiet period. Or they're just not going to realize when it does pick up, if they do make it through the quiet period, how much work the busy times actually require.
Oh.
It's non-stop.
Yeah, sorry.
Break your ankles there.
Oh, yeah. Just get old man cramps.
It's a lot of work when you are like really up and going. There's no downtime at all.
No, you're correct. You're very correct. I believe that these people out there at the moment that are in it, they're in it for a quick buck.
Oh yeah, it's
like,
the wrong reasons to be in it. It shouldn't be about the money.
It's, jeez.
I mean, I remember coming into the industry, I didn't understand that there was money to be made.
Oh.
I had no idea at all. I didn't have any expectations as to what kind of money I was going to make. I was just in it to do tattoos, and it kind of upsets me that people are looking at it as money first, art second.
Yeah, well, look, that's just... You're right.
It's just how it is.
It is.
It's hard to watch people doing that.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on I'm looking around my room here and I'm just looking at artwork and I'm just like, what are your thoughts to those people who just lock themselves into one single style sometimes? That things come in waves.
Yeah.
Traditional became very popular.
Yeah.
But I see it starting to fade back out a little now.
Okay.
But then
I still only see people getting traditional, whereas it's so popular from the circles that I see. Whereas I am noticing a decline in things like the ultra fine line.
Yeah, okay, they're declining, you reckon?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was
massively.
I think because what happens, right, it comes in like a 3-year wave.
Yeah.
In each 3 years, so what happens is the people see their ultra fine line tattoos 3 years later.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh.
Because fine line, I think, will be around forever. Fine line is very, very popular.
Yeah.
And it only seems to be increasing in its popularity. But yeah, the ultra fine line tattoos that are just like tiny, really thin, especially the more realistic versions.
The cosmetic tattoo artist fine line.
I'm not seeing as much of that anymore. And it has been long enough since that was really popular that maybe people are seeing. This isn't healing the way that I expected it to.
Well, this is the polar opposite, right? I'm seeing so many of them. Maybe it's just maybe Google's listening to me. I don't know. Maybe they hear me bitch about it so much that it's just it's in my feed every time now.
It really, I assume, does depend on what you're interested in when you are online and the people you're talking to, looking at their work or the tattoos that they have. If you're in different circles, you'll see different things. So if me looking at lots of darker work, but it's got a lot of detail and that sort of thing in it, maybe that's why I'm not seeing those sorts of pieces anymore.
I also think too that as a tattoo artist that's been around for as long as I have, and I've seen it come and go, I've seen lots of different things here and there, I think what I'm personally realizing now as well is you've got to just let your morals go sometimes. As much as I'm like, oh, you can't do that, that's rah, 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 rah. And then I'm like, but they're doing it and they're making a living from it. And who am I to tell them that? I mean, they should listen. In reality, that's
they should.
That's sometimes, but there's a market for it.
Yeah.
And there's customers for it that are like, they don't give a shit if their tattoo only lasts 3 years.
Yeah.
I'll go get it lasered off tomorrow. Just get this me tiny little 444 666 fucking tattoo. I think it's just a trend and a fashion at the moment.
Yeah.
And fashions change. Trends change.
Yeah.
And you've got to be able to potentially still keep your style going, but maybe fill the gaps with some of the smaller stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As much as we don't like it a great deal, and when this whole fine line thing came in, people don't realize it's just, they think that someone who does larger outlines doesn't know how to do a smaller outline. And they just don't understand.
Sometimes the case, but quite often it's just people don't like doing it. It doesn't fit what they want to do in terms of tattooing. Yeah,
absolutely. I still love doing a little banger every now and then. If it gets the case, I'm doing full day sittings all day, and to do a little one's kind of nice.
Yeah, I have one client who's been coming to me since I was an apprentice, and she always gets small fine line tattoos. And whenever I see her book in, I'm like, oh, thank goodness. Like, I know I have one day that week where this client knows exactly what she wants, exactly where she wants it, and she'll get like 4 or 5 pieces at once quite often. So we just sit there and we do some fine line tattoos, and it's just such a nice, relaxing day to break up the rest of the week.
You can also go to bed at night and go, I don't have to draw for tomorrow. What do I do with myself? And you find yourself doing nothing.
It's so refreshing to have it once in a while. If I was doing it all the time, I think I'd get bored very quickly.
Yeah.
Because I pride myself on hand drawing most of my designs. Sometimes, people want something to look exactly a certain way. And so you have to do it the way they want it. But I love having the creative freedom to just sit down and actually draw the tattoo. But when it's been a big week, or you've got 4 half sleeves to draw, and then you get that one person who just wants a couple of little pieces, it can be quite a relief to have them come in and break the week up. Definitely.
Cool. All right. Well, I think we're gonna have to
call it there.
Yeah, we're gonna have to end on that note. I've got a few bits and pieces to do.
That's fair.
But
I might be pretty busy today.
Yeah, well, keeping it short and sweet too is good.
Yeah.
Because we can come back and touch some other bases next time.
Otherwise, I
know. It just we can come back into it now and go from there. But doing good.
Yeah.
You're doing good too. Like your artwork and stuff like that's fun. And it's just keeping it fresh, keeping it new. Doing something for you, doing it for you and keeping
to
yourself.
Grow, keep it fun for me, but also keep my clients happy with styles that they're familiar with.
But it's also a nerve-wracking thing is to break into something different.
Yep.
So I think that's a really good point to sort of bring up in the fact of this whole session is just to keep pushing your limits.
Change is good.
Keep pushing yourself. Do new things. Meet new people. Continue to grow. And the more you grow, the tattoo studio should appreciate how much you grow and how much knowledge you acquire and you bring back here technically.
Yeah.
Like a home base.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And being able to go out there and grow should be encouraged.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool beans.
Cool.
All right, done and
Life
done then.
lessons on ink conversations.
Yeah, that's right. And don't forget, apprentices, if you're still watching.
Yeah, learn to draw. Don't. All that stuff.
Yeah,
just rewatch the episode.
At the end of the next one, I'm gonna just be like, J Davies' phone number is. See ya.